he pulls his own gun and fires off a single shot, hitting two of the officers.
In 2024 local subway station, something unexpected happened. An elderly postman was pushed onto the train tracks right in front of an incoming train. Erosh Potocek was walking home from work, a journey that may prove to be his last. On the CCTV footage, a terrifying scene unfolded as a random man pushed Potocek onto the train tracks right in front of an incoming train. Fortunately, Potocek missed the lifeline and a bystander helped him out of the way. The train operator as well pulled the emergency brake after spotting Potocek's bright red jacket. The man who pushed him was later identified as Bro Ashora, who claimed that he didn't have any intentions of ending Potocek's life. However, the reason he pushed him onto the train tracks was because he gave him a nasty look. Valid as that may be, it's still honestly terrifying that someone would straight up attack you or threaten your life just because of how you looked at them. Potocek was honestly lucky. Had he fallen only an inch forward and the train operator not noticing him, he would have ended up being part of the tracks. Bro Ashora was found guilty and given a life sentence.
We're getting a new look at a deadly traffic stop in Fairfax County last month, and it reminds us of the dangers officers face on our streets every day.
April 23rd, Virginia. Officers will pull over Jamal Wali during a routine traffic check, but things will go terribly wrong very fast. Before the end of the footage, Jamal was confirmed dead at the incident. You see, Jamal happened to be part of the military of Afghanistan, yet escaped the Taliban operation in a foreign land.
And I'm armed, I'll let you know. So why did you pull me over?
Your inspection sticker expired
last. Call Joe Biden.
Jamal was initially stopped for an expired inspection sticker. However, as the officer demanded for his driver's license, Jamal immediately told him that he was armed and became more and more aggressive, even refusing to give in his name or ID. Jamal went into severe mental breakdown as he told the officer about his 4 kids that he didn't care about, as well as about his inability to get a job, though nobody would expect what would happen next.
These are my partners here. They're coming up. I don't want you to get rattled.
After a few minutes, other officers approached Jamal's car, and as Jamal reached out to get his ID, one of the officers grabbed his wrist. This was a big mistake, as Jamal pulled out a pistol and fired several shots, shooting 2 of the officers. The third officer fired back, shooting Jamal 4 times, killing him on sight. Thankfully, the 2 officers who were shot, their wounds weren't fatal, but that couldn't be said for Jamal, as he was shot right in his head. However, the heartbreaking story emerged afterwards. See, most of Jamal's family, including his brothers, had been killed by the Taliban back in Afghanistan. He was severely crushed by this trauma and struggling to support his family and 4 kids. Expired inspection sticker was the last straw. The officer who shot Jamal was given a leave, but people still wondered what would happen to his family now. Ethan Rodriguez was playing video games in his own lounge when he suddenly heard a knock on the door. He didn't answer, but rather used the mobile app to see who it was and communicate with this person.
Can I help you? Oh yes, they came to check your air filters. I'm not sure. This is 38277.
The man on the door claimed to be from the maintenance department of the facility and was here to check the air filters. He had some convincing papers too. However, Rodriguez immediately knew this was a lie, as he had told the facility that the air filters had a problem and they told him that they couldn't do anything about it.
Oh, nobody's home right now. We'll have to wait until another day.
Oh, much appreciated. 872.
Rodriguez refused to open and told him that nobody was home. He was silent for some time until suddenly a loud bang on his door. This time, the two men were kicking down his door with full force. Rodriguez started to panic, as any second from now his door would break down and these two men would confront him. However, unnerving of all is that the men appeared to be armed with guns. And out of fear, Rodriguez pulled out his own gun he had always kept with him from time to time and opened fire 13 times at his door to scare the men off. And thankfully, his plan succeeds as the two men who didn't expect Rodriguez to be armed run off. There were no neighbors around, so thankfully nobody got hurt. 13 bullets were fired by Rodriguez through his door and stopped in the wall in the hallway. When police arrived, they confirmed that the attackers did in fact shoot back, as 2 bullet holes were identified in his door that started from outside. Rodriguez had a baby inside at the time. And if it wasn't for his quick thinking, things would have ended very differently. And despite being caught on camera, these two men have never ever been identified or even arrested, to say the least. On a random Wednesday in a Pittsburgh neighborhood, as 2 residents were getting into their car, another car pulled up right beside them. 2 figures got out and immediately opened fire, ringing bullets, turning the neighborhood into a shooting range. The residents ran for their lives and luckily nobody got injured, as somehow the bullets had managed to miss completely despite being at close range. The 2 attackers got back in the car and sped off. However, this wasn't the end. Five days later, the same car pulled up in the same neighborhood, only this time at night. The attackers didn't get out of the car and just leaned out the window and started shooting. The street they were shooting at was deserted at the time, so nobody was injured. It seemed like the attackers' motive was just to scare off someone or destroy property. However, nobody knows. Their identities remain unknown till this day, as an arrest has never been made.